Okay, well, as I said, we're 103 miles away from Galapagos. We will be arriving there tomorrow. You were there 7 years ago for the last time?
Yeah.
What is your memory, what is your recollection of that visit?
Oh, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. In a slightly ugly way, if that makes any sense. It's sort of black lava with these extraordinary reptiles, you know, crawl over your feet, over the road. You know, it's an amazing place.
Oh, prehistoric.
Yeah, yeah.
Good way. Dirk, you just came back from Galapagos.
Yeah. I'm making a funny move.
What you told me was not a very happy report.
I was so disappointed in seeing that at least a part of Galapagos that I've seen in the week that I was there to do some pre-shooting for the program, that it's been I wouldn't call it a Walibi or one of those attraction parks, but it's definitely become a tourist kind of thing. And there's still pristine islands and stuff like that, but you can see how it trickles down already over the other islands, and like Isabella, an island that so far is still sort of untouched. There's hundreds of requests for permissions to build hotels there now.
Yeah,
and
there's already a village there. There's 5,000 people living there.
Yeah, okay, but it's a big island, so there's still places left. And I think that in the end, Galapagos will end up being used in full force to support humans, be it as a tourist or whatever. So I mean, you can ask the question whether or not islands like the Galapagos, because they're so unique and because they're so remote, that they should not be left untouched. And with the occasional scientist going in, and there is of course a very illiterate kind of attitude, and it's totally unrealistic in this global world. And we've been there as well as a scientist and as a TV maker, so I'm not going to be so hypocrite to say that I'm the only one who will be able to go there and all the others not. But for the sake of the islands, it would be a better thing.
This splendid isolation definitely has ended.
It's finished. There's some people that we talked to there said there's more than 120,000 tourists being flown in every year, and it's a permanent bridge to the land. And then Sarah knows about that because she has made more about that because she has studied that. But there's so many invasive species coming in with humans, and some of them are doing really well at the expense of the local species who are very adapted to the circumstances of the mine. The smallest change might make them run into difficulties. So we're making the Galapagos, which has always been an isolated archipelago, making it a part of the continent.
Should you then make a museum of it, or how can you preserve it? Is it wantable? Is it?
That's a good question that we have to ask. Yeah. Is it?
You can decide.
Well, if I would have to make the decision, I would leave them like that. But I'm happy that I don't have to make that decision.
There's 30,000 or in excess of 30,000 people living there. I mean, I think the thing we do need to remember about Galapagos is that 95% of the land is not inhabited by humans.
Well,
not yet.
Not yet. Well, I think with any luck, touch wood, they'll stick to that. And I think we've got a good president at the moment, and really good people running the national parks and the research stations. So,
last night we saw some terrible pictures of these goats. It seemed to be a plague on Galapagos. They had to kill hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah, they did. They did, in order to save the rare endemic tortoises and the plants and the land iguanas and the birds and I mean, these are all very difficult decisions that have to be made.
And there's still the cats left, there's the rats left, there's the donkeys left, there's the brahman, the breams, I don't know, the blackberries left. So there's all these invasive species that they
they are, but they're coming up with groundbreaking methods in Galapagos of eliminating these problems. You know, they're world class in their conservation, and this is one of the good news stories. So in fact, according to people in Galapagos, it's actually in a better state than it was 50 years ago.
That's not Dirk's opinion.
No, it isn't. Well, you know, to be fair,
I haven't been there.
Dirk's only been to an area where he's been to 2 of the sort of 5 inhabited islands.
Okay, there's more to see.
Yeah.
What will you be examining when you get there?
Well, we will be going to the beauty bit. Dirk will see the touristy bit, and we're going to travel around the northern part of Isabella, which is one of the more beautiful islands.
The seahorse shape?
The seahorse island, and then to Fernandina, which is the youngest island and kind of the jewel in the crown of Galapagos.
Okay, what specifically will you be investigating?
We will have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
be a surprise.
What are we going to see from you from Galapagos?
The black side.
The black side.
Yeah.
Black side, the touristic side.
The touristic
Yeah,
side.
that's illegal immigrants and the drug problem and some of the invasive species problem, the Darwin finches that end up being smashed by cars and stuff like that.
We talk so much about Galapagos because it's the heart of the matter in this Darwin journey, of course. Maybe it's a good thing to explain in short sentences what is the meaning of Galapagos in the Darwin theory.
Well, I'd like to say that the plants were very important because Darwin found that the plants on mainland South America were very similar to the plants in the Galapagos. They were similar but not identical. Mm-hmm. And then he discovered, with the help of a botanist, Hooker, that the plants on the different islands were similar to each other but not identical. So this was an incredibly important discovery. The finches were very confusing because
he mixed them up.
He mixed them up and he didn't label them to each island, and it was only later that Gould identified them and said, hold on a minute, there's something interesting here. But the finches are interesting because they show some form of adaptation. The mockingbirds were a very strong story, but they don't show adaptation, they're just different colours and different sizes. Yeah. And the giant tortoises were important because, of course, the governor who was there at the time said to him, you can tell which island the tortoises are from by the shape of their shells. So there were quite a few animals and definitely plants that were very important to his theory.
Much later.
And he, in fact, always said that the origin of the origin was Galapagos, I think.
Okay. Is there a statue?
Yeah, there are some. Yeah. Questionably. Yeah. Questionably. Yeah, there's statues, there's T-shirts, there's mugs. You'll see.
There's not a specific place that you want to go see.
Yeah.
Darwin has become
in family respect. I mean.
Well, no, I don't think particularly.
Okay.
But the big statue that is on San Cristobal, it doesn't even look like Darwin.
No.
No, it's horrible. It's disgusting.
So. Let's decide not to go there.
Maybe
Darwin has become a merchandising product for many people. That's what I found so shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, this man is probably the most important naturalist that ever lived, and the most important person that contributed to shaping our own thinking about ourselves. And then they put him on mugs and on T-shirts.
You can't deny the local people to make a living.
I know, but I found it shocking, and especially because of many of the guides on the Galapagos, at least some of the people that we met. I admit we have been looking for some of them, but they're creationists, or at least intelligent designers, so they believe evolution theory is only applicable to the other animals, but not to humans, and they use Darwin as a means to attract people and then to bring them a message that Darwin hates.
Okay. So do you think they're having any success?
But at least they're there, and they're expanding as well, because there's less and less biologists being hired, being guides. It's more and more focus on local people, and there's these people coming in.
These people are there with this purpose.
Yeah.
This very purpose.
Yeah, there's a church already who's preaching creationism, and that's something from the last 2 years. So they're moving in as a Trojan horse into the heartland of Darwinism.
Right. So not only goats and viruses, but also Christians.
Creationists. Not all creationists.
Laura, are there any Twitters?
Yes, but we are a little bit behind actually, but I'm still going to ask it. Maybe we can make it a bit more recent. Isn't it difficult then to leave the Galapagos or Antarctica, for example, just for science? I mean, when I see the footage, he says, I would like to go there. So is science more important than human pleasure? Well, we talk about it now, but
I think the Galapagos Islands are role models for their efforts in trying to minimize the effects of the residents and minimize the effects of the visitors. They choose very, very few sites. I think there's around 60 visiting sites in the whole of the archipelago that tourists can visit. That's pretty minimal. I reckon if you walk 100 people through a tropical rainforest on one track, you will get a really bad mark on the ground.